Welcome to the Girl Talk Mental Health. Girl Talk Mental Health dares to go where others won't. We unpack the hard truths about mental health, dissect trending topics, and challenge the stereotypes and stigmas holding us back. From navigating the 6 dimensions of wellness to redefining social norms, this is more than a discussion. It's a revolution in how we care for our minds and souls. Ready for bold, honest conversations that spark change? Let's dive in. It's time for real talk with real impact.
Well, welcome to another empowering episode of Girl Talk Mental Health, where we talk real about mental health and give you the tools to take change and take charge of your well-being. I'm your host, Virginia Dale Manning, mental health therapist and advocate, and today we are tackling something we all face, stress. But here's the good news, you can learn how to master it. The stress epidemic is affecting millions, leading to burnout, anxiety, and even physical health issues. But resilience isn't just a select few, it's something you can build. And today we have an incredible guest, Atara Michelle. She's a licensed marriage family therapist, and she's going to show you how to do it the right way. But before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. The link is in the description. Share this episode and get ready to take your mental strength to the next level. And don't forget, April is Stress Awareness Month, and we're kicking off our Mental Health Olympic series, helping you win the race to awareness. Now let's get into it and welcome our special guest, Atara Parkinson.
Wow.
Welcome.
Thanks, Virginia.
So
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm already so inspired by your intro. That was like beautiful and even inspired me. I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Let's go. So let the audience know a little bit more about you.
Of course. Hi, everyone out there. My name is Atara Parkinson, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. And I also am an integrative mental health professional. As I continued my career in education, I really noticed that it was so important to work with clients from not just the brain and mental health, but also incorporating what was happening in the body. And so that's why I went on and started receiving more education and just becoming more aware about this interaction. And so now I run my private practice. I have my strictly coaching or therapy side, and then I have a health coaching side where I get to work with more of that integrative space.
Mm-hmm. The coaching is where it's at these days, right?
Great. Yeah, it offers a lot of freedom.
Absolutely. Worldwide freedom
Yes.
that the license sometimes restricts you to, but you want to help so many people. Like, why do we have to be restricted?
Exactly. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, Virginia.
Okay. So you ready to dive in? Give us some of those goods you have in your brain.
Do it. I'm so excited. Yes.
So, we hear a lot about stress being an epidemic at an epidemic level, especially now, there's just so many things going on. And from your expertise, what do you think is driving this surge in stress and burnout?
Yeah, that is such a great question. And I feel like honestly, I could talk just about that for the whole the whole episode, but we won't. I think there's a couple key things happening here though, is we live in a very fast-paced society. I don't think that's a mystery to anyone listening today, right? Typically if we're an adult and we have a family, we are constantly multitasking. And while multitasking is a great skill, it also is very difficult for our brain. And it's very taxing for not just our brain, but other organs and systems in our body. And so this constant need, right? Like I have to get it all done. I have to juggle maybe doing the kids' homework while I'm making dinner, right? I have to be doing the laundry while I'm also trying to finish a work project, right? This is a constant multitasking that we're doing. And again, very, very difficult for our body and brain. Then we just have like this pace of life that is so rapid and taxing on our body. When I work with clients, we really end up talking about like, how do you rest and how often do you rest? And most people, when they're really honest with me or themselves, they'll say, yeah, not very often. Or even when I'm attempting to rest, my body is still in this like overdrive phase
Mhm.
of I feel like I don't have permission or I can't give myself permission to rest. And that's super important. And then we have this layer, right, of what's happening in our biochemistry, physiologically, right? Um, Even just imagine driving. I'm from Southern California, so we talk about traffic all the time, right? I'm no longer in Southern California, which has been great for my nervous system. But when I was there, even just driving somewhere, right? How bad is the traffic going to be? How much time do I need to give myself? Am I going to be late? This is all stress, 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 right? So we can look at these little pockets and see um, how there's a great impact on our body and our biochemistry. And we won't get too into the nitty gritty today, but like there's like this um, waterfall effect is what I call it, where there's an event, a stressor like traffic, that then produces, right, a cascade of hormones, if you will, and other responses in the body, and then it taxes the system and it removes nutrients to go through that process. And then are we putting that nutrients back in? Well, I think the answer for most people out there is unfortunately no, right? When we're running through a fast food chain or eating even a healthy version of food like a chicken breast and broccoli, is that really giving us what we need to
Right.
respond to the stress?
Mhm.
Probably not. Yes. So
That's
I think,
good.
yeah, I think it's so layered, right? It's so layered. And that's why I said we could talk about that subject all day, but that's what I really see going on.
And then the thing about it, like you said, everything is so fast paced that we do go to the quick fast foods and we do skip on exercise and we do skip on drinking enough water. We forget our
Absolutely.
vitamins. We forget all of those things, those nutritious things that we need to fuel our body so that we can consistently, do all of those 100 things that we
Yes.
have to do every day. And then as women, because it sounds like we talking about the
I
typical
work a lot.
mom, right?
Yes, I work a lot with women.
And it's
Absolutely.
all girl talk mental health, but we for the fellas too. So, but it's not just the women. I see
Mhm.
lately there's a rise of men
Yeah.
who are taking on those household chores and the housewife roles. I
My
guess they
husband's one of them. He's
now.
Yeah, my husband's Mr. Mom. We are in that
I
situation. I
love it.
am
I love
the
it.
breadwinner and he's at home. But it's interesting to see, yeah, his recognizing of the stress that I was in for the last 7 years when I was in that role. So
And like,
yes,
oh, honey, I understand exactly everything you were talking about. When I came home and you were exhausted, and I thought you were just sitting at home chilling all day with the kids.
yes,
Oh no,
yes.
no, no! Now you see, sir. Now you see. give
Such
me my give
empathy.
me my award, okay? And my certificate of accomplishment.
I will, absolutely. Yes, the empathy that has been built is wonderful. It's great for our
Uh,
marriage. So
I love it.
yes. But yes,
So
men too impacted. Mhm.
absolutely. And so that means that we need to build some resilience, right? And resilience is often talked about, but what does it really mean in the context of mental health? And
Yeah.
how can someone start strengthening their resilience today?
I love that question. And I love too that you kind of hinted on resilience is something that is innate. It is built into us. If we look at a young child or a baby, they are naturally resilient. You're watching a kid learning to walk, they're resilient. They fall down a million times, but then they say, I'm going to get back up and I'm going to do this again. Right. So it's really cool. I think that's reassuring for us to know that there are things that we are innately born with, that we can reconnect with. And we use an acronym for this, and the acronym is POWER. That's an easy way to help everyone out there remember it, which stands for present, original, whole, energized, and then the last one is resilience, right? So these are characteristics that we already had in us. And over time, I think they end up getting zapped, right, as we move forward in our lives, so that by the time we're adults, it can feel really difficult to connect with those things. But we'll talk about that today, right? I think I want to start too with addressing how I think we've kind of dealt with stress or worry over, maybe the last 100, 200 years. And the techniques that we've typically used are just trying to have reassurance, right? Oh, it's going to be fine, right? Telling ourselves there's nothing to worry about, trust yourself, right? This kind of language. And why that's not bad, it's also kind of missing another component we'll get to. The second thing that we typically do is we respond to our worry with frustration, with anger, right? Or our stress with like anger and frustration. And that's actually not helpful, right? That's when we kind of get into this cycle of self-deprecation, self-criticism. And then the last one is just to try to push away or ignore our stress or our worry. And this also isn't very effective. Sometimes when we use these techniques, people will go, well, they worked for a little bit, right? They worked for a while. And now they're not working. And that's when we typically, people come into our offices for mental health support. They're like, well, I tried to ignore this for a while and it's not working anymore. So what I think it's really important to start with is that understanding our brains are literally wired as what if machines. Okay? That is the way our brain works. Okay? We always are going, okay, this is happening. What if this? Okay, I'm going to deal with the situation. What if this? Our brains naturally want to plan and figure out. Now, we talked about the pace of life, right? So, what happens if our brain is constantly trying to do that and we're in that mode all the time and there's none of that relaxation? Well, we start to get rumination. We start to get mental health symptoms of stress. We also start to get physical manifestations of stress or worry. If you're noticing, my heart races really quickly when I start to get into a stress place. My breathing quickens. I get short of breath. Maybe I get chills or hot flashes. I get sweaty palms. Even more extreme, I start to tremble or I get dizzy. This can be really alarming for people when they're experiencing these things. And so helping them know how to calm down, bring that down is super important. So one misconception that happened early on when we started to study stress and worry was that our brains just naturally went there. But actually, there's this little space in between that was missing, that is a choice, right? We make a choice to engage with our circumstances in a certain way. So when I love giving this example, I think it's so tangible for many people out there, but especially moms or those at home with the children. Your alarm didn't go off in the morning, right? Or you woke up late. You maybe hit that snooze and you are rushed, right? You are trying to get out the door. You're running late. What starts to happen in your body and in your brain? Well, your heart starts to race, right? Your cortisol starts to pump. I gotta get going. I gotta get doing these things quicker. You start to think really quickly, right? I have to boom, 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 get all these things for the day, get the kids ready. Typically, if you were like me, you also then start yelling at the kids, right?
Yeah.
Put your shoes on, get your teeth brushed, right?
Let's
All these,
go. Get out the
yeah,
house.
let's go. Exactly. So we see two things happening here on several layers. We see the physical body responding, but we also can see a mental shift, right, happening simultaneously. Now, we can choose to step in and be like, this is the worst. I can't believe this happened. What are we going to do? Oh my gosh, we're going to be late, right? I can start catastrophizing, or I can make a different choice in that moment. And I
Right.
can say, okay, it is what it is. We woke up late. Maybe let me call my work or the kids' school real quick. Just so you know, we might be a few minutes late. So sorry, right? and we can make a choice to engage with the situation from a more calm position. So I
Yeah.
think that's important, is to just remind people that you are empowered to make a decision or make a choice when you're dealing with a stressor.
That's good because this is Stress Awareness Month, of course, April. But you mentioned some points: the inner critic and the physical aspects. That we actually have some other episodes this month that's dealing specifically with
Oh,
those two
great.
themes. So thanks for introducing that.
Of
Because
course.
yeah, because we yeah, those are some, you dropping those nuggets for our later
Mhm.
episodes um,
Beautiful.
in April. But let's take a quick commercial break because when we come back, we're going to talk more about resilience because I think that's important that people understand. Because you
Mhm.
hit on two real good pointers about resilience. You talked about healthy resilience and unhealthy resilience. So when
Love it.
we come back, we're going to dive more into those two aspects of healthy versus unhealthy.
Great. Let's do it.
Welcome to the Girl Talk Mental Health. Do you ever feel like you're running on empty? Stuck in the same cycle? Or just trying to keep it all together? You're not alone. Stress, depression, burnout, and self-doubt are real, but they don't have to control your life. Imagine feeling empowered, balanced, and truly at peace. At Girl Talk Mental Health, we're diving deep into the real conversations that help you heal, grow, and thrive. From breaking stigmas to actionable strategies, we're here to empower you to take back control of your mental wellness and reclaim your time, your energy, and your joy. Follow us now for expert insights, uplifting conversations, and the tools you need to transform your life. It's time for real talk with real impact. Girl Talk Mental Health. Real conversations, real change. Follow us today at Virginia Dell Manning.
So, welcome back to the second half of Girl Talk Mental Health. We have our very special guest, Miss Atara Parkinson. She's a licensed marriage family therapist, and she has been dropping some over the top nuggets. And we wanted to dive deeper into that topic of resilience
Yes.
so that people can know, because you can't really, realistically, you can't get rid of stress, right? Because if you have goals, you're doing life. If life is life, and you're gonna have some stresses, right? But so tell us, what are some underrated and lesser known resilient strategies, the healthy versus unhealthy as well, that people use to lower their stress levels in real time?
I love this question. Yeah, let's get real practical with it, right? And help the people out there listening. So, I think one really easy way to start is thinking about that what if plan. Where our brain gets stuck is when we don't feel like we have an answer or solution to the what if. And so, making a plan or making some ideas of how might I respond to this, um, if it does turn out the way, right, that I'm anticipating and that I'm feeling stressed about, here's how I might respond to it. I think making a um, what we call, I give it three categories, and it's what is the worst case scenario. So in this stressor or this possibility, what is the worst thing that can happen? Also, what's the best thing that can happen? And then what's the most realistic thing that might happen here? Because that really helps our brain relate to this, not just in that stuck tunnel vision stress mode that we're in. And then lastly, I would say talking about our calculating risk. So when our brain is in a stress state, it actually is cutting off energy to our upper cortex, right? Which is this part of brain that is responsible for logic. And we're operating largely in this like bottom, we call it the reptilian brain, right? You also notice it's a very reactive brain. So if you're in that, let me say first, work on getting calm first, because know that you cannot even connect with that logic brain if you're in a really dysregulated state. So, some solutions for that, and then we'll go back into calculating risk. Some solutions for regulating first would be walking, right? Tuning into your,
Simple.
yeah, simple. It's so simple. Tuning into your body and saying, okay, what is my body asking me for here? Oftentimes, with stress or a heightened state like anxiety, the body wants to move. And historically, this makes sense. The way we think back to caveman days and we were being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, which is stressful, isn't it? Our body would want to move in that situation, whether it's to run or fight. That same part of the brain is operating nowadays when we're under stress. Now, we're not being typically chased by a saber-toothed tiger, but we are in this
Close
stress.
enough. It's close enough.
Yeah, it can feel like it for sure. And I hope no one's being chased by tigers out there, right? But it might be something like I gave the example of running late in the morning, but that reaction is almost, it's the same reaction. So getting ourselves out of that. I want to go back to that example because you can't go for a walk, right? You're running late and you're trying to get the kids out the door. You cannot go for a walk. But what
Mhm.
you can do, right, is really check in with the body and maybe you can shake it out for a moment. Right. And so I do this all the time with my kids. I actually say out loud the experience that I'm having. Guys, I'm really late. Or I'm really stressed. We are late right now. So I need all of your help. And as we put our shoes on, why don't we just like, I'll put on a happy song. Why don't we just wiggle our bodies or, do a quick, I'll shake, I like to shake my hands like this or shake my
Yeah,
body.
get it
And
out of
that
your
helps.
body.
Get it out of the body. Absolutely. Yes. And so we want to do something somatically for the body first to help move that energy through before we shift into helping the mind figure out how am I going to deal with this situation. So
Mhm.
calculating risk, right? We know that when we're in a stressed or anxious state, it throws our ability to assess risk out the door. So we want to really look at how bad is this really, right? And so the example that I keep giving is being late. Well, how bad is this? Really, at the end of the day, if we're late one day, it's not the end of the world, right? So helping my brain shift into a realistic relation rather than staying stuck in that stress cycle.
That's good. That's good. So, is April is Stress Awareness Month, right?
Mhm.
So, and you gave us a lot of practical daily habits with your examples. I love the illustrations that people can implement to protect their mental well-being
Mm.
long term. So, if it's just one that people can start today, which is part
Oh,
of my spotlight question, but we're gonna do that later.
yes.
What would
Okay.
be one simple, besides you
Mhm.
already said take a walk, but another one, because what if the weather is bad or I'm
Yeah.
crunched for time, like you said,
Mhm.
what is something that people can do?
Yes, I love it. And I'm going to say stop ignoring. That would be my number one. What you can do and implement today is even if you cannot deal with the stress, like going for a walk in the moment, circle back. Okay, come back to acknowledging your body, acknowledging what just happened, even if you cannot in that moment, right? So, again, this example of running late, what I might say is if you can't find a second to give a quick shake, turn on a happy song because you're that stressed, get everyone in the car, get on the road, and then do something for your brain, for your body and your brain. And maybe that can look really different for different people depending on who you are, what is soothing to you, but also what the moment is like. Some people really need a calm and quiet. Some people need movement and activation. So depending on what is going on with you, you might relate in a different way. For me, it's definitely getting outside. That open space and the open sky calms our nervous system. And I see that impact very clearly when I'm able to get outside. So even the action of, as we're moving outdoors, taking literally a second to go, okay, we're going to be okay, right? Looking around at that sky, opening up our peripheral vision, which shuts down when we're in a stress state. Or maybe it's putting on, we mentioned music before. Music can be so soothing and helpful for us. So maybe it's a putting on a specific song, whether it's a happy, upbeat one, maybe it's a calm, soothing one, maybe it's a really nostalgic song that brings back good memories. Really just engaging some way with your body and also acknowledging it. Like saying thank you. I know that was stressful. I appreciate you coming through and powering through with me.
The awareness piece, right?
Absolutely.
Well, Michelle, I'm sorry, Michelle. I don't know why Michelle came on me. I'm
It's
sorry.
my middle name.
Atara,
That's okay.
everything, I think it's somebody else's name, Michelle. Everything you said is so powerful, and that awareness piece is very, very key, which is what Girl Talk Mental Health is about, helping people with the awareness. So you were dead on target today.
Love
So give the
it.
people some information about where they can connect with you more, and then if you have an offer for them, share that as well.
Sure, of course. So the best place is my website, which is ataraparkinson.com, just my name. I'm also love connecting through social media. I have a lot of free information on my social media. So I'm on Instagram at atara.parkinson, and then I have a business page on Facebook, which is Atara Parkinson. And you can scroll down on there. You can find nervous system regulation tools, how to respond to stress, and also a lot of the nutrition topics that we talked about today.
Okay, well, this has been a powerful episode for sure. If you jumped in halfway, go back and watch from the beginning, rewatch, get your notepad out, take notes, connect with Atara so that you can get more information about how to manage your stress the right way. Okay, as we know, there's an unhealthy way and there's a healthy way. So
Yeah.
connect with Atara. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in the rest of this month of April for more stress awareness for Girl Talk Mental Health, and have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for Girl Talk Mental Health. Remember, your mental health is your wealth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to at Virginia Del Manning.